Let's get this thing rolling on a Monday. We go to the Glasser guest line, check in with our guy, Isaac Schade. Give him a follow on X at Isaac Schade, hosts of Locked On College Basketball and Locked On Heels podcast as well. Isaac, it's great to see you, pal. I told you before we hopped on, when I see your face, I know college basketball is back. And let's just get right into it. Last year, national championship, epic final between Houston and Florida. And Isaac, those teams are going to be really good again. Right now, preseason number 1, number 3 team in the country. If I told you right now, start of the season, I could either give you Houston or Florida, which team would you feel more confident in getting back to the national title this year?
Now, I want the national runner-up in this one, PJ. Give me Houston. I'll start with Florida. Yes, they returned their entire front court, which is bonkers and crazy. But I'm in a little bit of a wait-and-see mode, PJ, on this new put-together backcourt because they lost everybody from that, of Boogie Flan coming over from Arkansas, Xavion Lee coming from Princeton. I love them individually. How will they work together? The other big question mark is they're trying to get this whole front court onto the court at the same time. So that means Tommy Hauck is going to have to go to the 3. How is he going to perform as a small forward? That's my other big question mark. I have less question marks, though, about Houston. Milo Suzan, back. Emmanuel Sharp, poor guy. He's got to make up for that last play of the season. Gross. And then JoJo Tugler, a front runner for Defensive National Player of the Year, but also going to take on more of a scoring load this year. They also get back a couple other guys, Ramon Walker, Mercy Miller. And my one maybe question with Houston is they're going to rely on freshmen more than they've had to in the past. Chris Cenac coming in, Isaiah Harwell, a big guard, Kingston Flemings. But I think those guys are great, and I think the returners are going to come around them. And then Houston's got that, we're so mad about what happened factor to them that I think they ride that to a spot in at least the Final Four, PJ.
I'm with you, Isaac. Both those teams going to be really good, but it does feel like, at least at this point, Houston probably the team to beat in college basketball. Let's stick with the Gators, though, Isaac. We know how historic the SEC was last season, how loaded that league was, all the teams that made it to March Madness. It's probably not going to be that good again, but it's still going to be really, really good. Florida's the favorite to win the league this year. Who's the team that you look at in the Southeastern Conference that you think challenges Florida the most this season?
Well, it's the team that I actually have picked above Florida to win the SEC this year, and that's the Kentucky Wildcats, which, wow, go big, Isaac. It's a blue blood. Of course, I get it. But look, it's for a good reason. And yes, I hear everyone yelling, look, they just lost to Georgetown at home in an exhibition. Well, cool, but they had just beaten Purdue right before that. It's exhibition games, everybody. Throw it out the door. It's a wash. Nobody cares. The key for Kentucky long-term is getting Jaden Quaintance healthy. This dude is going to be an animal in the front court for Mark Pope and his team. But the good news is they don't have to rush him back. They get Mo Diabate coming in. Sorry, PJ, apologies to you, from Alabama. Plus, Brandon Garrison's there, incoming international player Andre Jelovich. And so they've got some front court pieces to help in the interim. But dude, in the backcourt, Otega Owe is back. He's the preseason SEC Player of the Year. He's going to be at the 2 with Jalen Lowe coming over from Pitt, where, oh my goodness, he can score at will. He can get this offense going. Not to mention, we just talked about those Gators. Denzel Aberdeen brings in his national championship experience. That cannot be overlooked. They've also got a couple key freshmen. Jasper Johnson is a bucket, my guy. He's not lacking for any confidence. He will pull at a moment's notice. And Malachi Moreno, another freshman, can also help steady the front court in the meantime.
Yeah, Florida plus 225 to win the SEC. Kentucky, who Isaac likes, right behind them at plus 300. Let's move on over to the ACC, a league that you know very well. I want you to talk to me about your Tar Heels this season, Isaac, but also just the ACC as a whole. Duke is the favorite. The Boozer Twins should be as advertised this season. But NC State's really fascinating with Will Wade in his first year and all that he was able to bring over. Louisville's, they're garnering a lot of excitement with Pat Kelsey, what he did in year 1, everything he brought to his team in year 2. So who's the team that you think can challenge Duke the most in the ACC, and how do you think your Tar Heels end up doing this season?
PJ, I think you just got that wrong. What you meant to say is who's going to be the biggest challenger to Louisville, because the Cardinals are going to win the ACC, my guy. That, I look at this roster Pat Kelsey has put together, and Louisville is so back, just like college basketball. Speaking of freshmen, Michael Brown is another one of the most dynamic freshmen in the country, had a crazy summer. but it's all about the returners to college basketball as well. Listen to this trio they bring in. Isaac McNeely comes over from Virginia, led the ACC in three-point shooting last year. Ryan Conwell from Xavier, Adrian Woolley comes over. Each of that trio shot 40% or better from three last year on 5 or more attempts a game. PJ, they are going to bomb away. And when you come out and do that, good luck, because you got Ali Khalifa coming back from injury. You got Kaysen Pryor coming back from injury. They're going to help in the front court. Kobe Rogers is also healthy, so they get that whole trio back. Javon Hadley comes back for Louisville. That's going to help, as does Kenai Ruths. I just think they've got the right roster construction to win in this era, while Duke is, again, going to rely a little more heavily on freshmen. And I think, therefore, that Louisville's returning advantage of veteran college basketball players is going to help. They're going to spread you out. They're going to bomb away, but then they'll beat you from inside when they need to. I got Louisville as the favorites. You asked about Carolina, PJ. I've got them third in the ACC as the preseason odds and polls have it. By the way, hashtag, here's my free Luka Bogovac bobblehead. Luka Bogovac, a player coming over from Montenegro. Guys, this is a Justin Timberlake bobblehead that I put Luka Bogovac's face and jersey on. He has not yet been cleared by Carolina, though he's been cleared by the NCAA. They got to get him on the floor. He's going to be their starting 3. In the meantime, oh well, we'll just go jumbo. PJ, I got to apologize to you again, because Jaren Stevenson comes from Alabama, where tonight he will be the starting 3 in place of Luka Bogovac for North Carolina, who will go 6'10", 7 foot in the front court. North Carolina went out and got massive this summer. They've got better shooting. It's the first time since 2020 that a guy named RJ Davis won't be stepping on the floor. They got to figure out how to replace him, but they've got the pieces to do it. Another dynamite freshman, Caleb Wilson, is going to lead this team in all sorts of major statistical categories. Cannot wait, by the way, for Friday when Kansas goes to Chapel Hill. That's a crazy matchup Friday night, PJ. Carolina finishes third in the ACC.
That will be good. I'm excited for the ACC this year. I'm glad Jaren Stevenson went back home, Isaac. You know, he's from Chapel Hill.
Honestly,
I think it took. I'm surprised he didn't, go there a couple of years ago. So that's good. He's back home. We're talking with Isaac Schade here on Send It In. All right, Isaac, got about a couple minutes left. Want to get some big picture thoughts from you on the season. So right now, as everybody's doing these preview shows, right, everybody's kind of talking about the same teams. They're talking about the Purdues, the Houstons, Floridas, all these kinds of teams. But what's a team under the radar, maybe not a lot of people are talking about, that you think could have a really good season?
From a not a national title contender, but still ranked situation, I love UCLA's team. They returned Tyler Bilodeau, Eric Daly, Sky Clark, 3 of their top 4 scorers from last year. And hold the phone, they bring in Donovan Dent. This dude is my biggest hot take of the preseason, PJ. Going to be the Big Ten Player of the Year, Donovan Dent is. Mick Cronin is going to unleash him, and he's going to beat out Braden Smith for Big Ten Player of the Year. This UCLA team has all sorts of Final Four potential. If we're talking about an unranked team, it's one that you mentioned earlier, NC State. I love what they got, all sorts of previous NCAA tournament experience. We can talk more about them another week, because I know you said we're short on time, but give me UCLA from an unranked team. It's hard to say, but NC State, baby, they're going to be really good under Will Wade.
Isaac, we are simpatico on a lot of these thoughts, so I love it with UCLA and NC State. Flip side, who's a team that a lot of people are high on that you're not necessarily sold on this season?
It's the Michigan Wolverines for me, PJ. I'm buying the Yaxel Lendeborg stock. It's not because of him. There were 2 players in all of college basketball that led their team in all 5 major statistical categories last year. One you might have heard of. His name was Cooper something or other, Flag maybe, I don't know. The other was Yaxel Lendeborg at UAB. Now he brings that to Ann Arbor. He is a dude. I'm buying the front court. My hesitation is the same struggle that Michigan had last year. It's the backcourt. Elliot Cadeau comes over from North Carolina. He's got to be more consistent in all aspects of his game, as with Roddy Gale and Amari Burnett. That's why I'm lower on Michigan than just about everybody else.
Fair enough. Isaac, in about 20, 30 seconds, I'm going to be that guy, put you on the spot. Who do you got to win the national title this year?
Boo, vanilla, it's Purdue, but for good reason, man. I was telling you before the show started, PJ, they're like that YMCA old man savvy. They just got all the pieces that are returning, as well as bringing everything in. 2 preseason potential All-Americans in Braden Smith and TKR. This team is loaded. It's Matt Painter's first national title. You love to see it.
All right, there you go, Isaac. Before we let you go, we end every time we have you on the same way. The Isaac Schade pick of the day with the glasses of the sun, the whole shebang. You got like 130 games to choose of, my friend. What's the first play of the season? What do you like?
The problem is I forgot my sunglasses. My wife had them in her car, so I'm going with my blue light glasses today. What a great way to kick off the season. I'm in spring training form, clearly. Let's go the single. There's only one ranked game today. I thought we'd go big picture with it. It's Florida number 3, Arizona number 13. This is a 3.5 point spread. Last I checked, Florida favored. They're going to win. But I tell you what, these Arizona Wildcats are wildly talented. They're going to cover that spread. So if you're going straight up, take Florida, but Arizona will cover.
Man, there you go. It's good to have that back, man. Can't wait. Isaac Schade going to join us every week here on Send It In. Give him a follow on X at Isaac Schade, host of Locked On College Basketball and Locked On Heels podcast as well. There we go. Hopefully they free him soon, Isaac, your boy. Good seeing you, pal. We'll talk to you next week.
Good season.
Great stuff. Great stuff from Isaac. All right, guys, let's keep it rolling here on Send It In. We continue previewing the college basketball season. We'll dive deep into a bunch of these leagues over the week and maybe into next week as well, guys, get you prepared for the season. But just some initial thoughts on these teams heading into the year. Let's start with the Big Ten. And the two teams that I would look at are the two that Isaac was talking about. Purdue, they're the favorite for a reason. Braden Smith's back. Fletcher Lawyer's back. Trey Kaufman-Wren's back. Matt Painter, for as bad as he has been throughout his career in March, the guy's a terrific regular season coach, and he's got a team that is built for the regular season because of the experience, because of the depth that they have. They have one of the best home courts in the country at Mackey Arena, so Purdue's going to be tough to beat. I like them at 2-1. But Isaac said if there was a team outside of Purdue to look at, it would be UCLA because all those Midwest and East Coast teams that have to fly out to LA to play the Bruins, now obviously they'll have to make some trips back, vice versa. But the fact they're returning 3 of their 4 leading scorers and getting Donovan Dent from New Mexico, I don't know how much Mountain West basketball you guys watched last year, but New Mexico had a bunch of good players, and Dent was the very best, and he's one of the best guards in the country. So Purdue and UCLA, the two teams I would keep an eye on this season. SEC is going to be an awesome league yet again. Florida, Kentucky, the two favorites, both of those teams are going to be really good. But my pick, and I think with some good value, is going to be Tennessee at plus 850. We all know Rick Barnes' team is going to be elite defensively. Tennessee is going to be one of the top 5, top 3 defensive teams in the country. But I like what Rick Barnes did this offseason. He went out and got Jacoby Gillespie from Maryland, who's a terrific point guard, and then Nate Ahmet, the freshman, is going to be a star. So when those two guys start to gel and they get into SEC play and you have those two guys down the stretch getting you clutch buckets when a lot of these games are going to be one possession, I think Tennessee has a great shot at winning the SEC. So give me the Vols plus 850. Big East, I like UConn at plus 110. UConn, it was a down year for them last year. That roster wasn't quite a Dan Hurley type roster, but this year the Huskies might get back to their championship form. Alex Caravan is still there. It feels like he's the new Perry Ellis of college basketball. But they have a star freshman in Braylon Mullins, who's probably going to be out the next 5 or 6 weeks. Should be good to go for Big East play. But UConn's going to be really, really good. I like what they did, bringing in some of the guys from the portal. Solo Ball is also back to go along with Caravan. St. John's is going to be awesome. It's probably going to come down to those two teams, but I'll take UConn to win the league at plus 110. ACC, Isaac made a good case for Louisville. I think they're going to be good. I think NC State is going to be solid as well. Will Wade's a terrific coach, and what he brought in to the portal, not only guys from his last stop, but also, some of the guys he brought in from the portal, really, really good team. Louisville, same thing with Pat Kelsey. He brought in a true freshman, Michael Brown, who's going to be terrific. Ryan Cromwell from Xavier. He's got shooters all over the floor. So those teams are going to be really, really good. But I still like Duke at plus 150. You got the Boozer twins. You got NBA talent. And it's going to be tough for one of those teams to go into Cameron and beat the Blue Devils. So I like the Dukies to win the ACC at plus 150. Big 12, I'm going with Houston at plus 140. Look, I mean, Houston, yes, they do lose some key guys from last year. No more Juwan Roberts, no more LJ Cryer, but they still got Emmanuel Sharp. They still got JoJo Tugler. And Houston's just like Tennessee. Under Kelvin Sampson, they're always going to be one of the top defenses in the country. The Big 12 is a loaded league, and you cannot have an off night at all. And Kelvin Sampson reminds me a lot of Dan Campbell and just the way that the Lions play every week with gas. Just the pedal to the metal all the way down. There's no let-ups from them. It's the same way with Houston basketball. There's no let-up, and that's the kind of team you need to win on the Big 12 on a nightly basis. So I like them at plus 140. Some non-Power 5 teams that I would keep an eye on this year, 2 out of the Mountain West. First one is San Diego State at plus 115. Aztecs have been a mainstay in college basketball the last decade, it feels like. They're going to be solid again. Should be another tournament team. And New Mexico, I'd keep an eye on the Lobos at 12-1. Richard Pitino moves on, and he's now the head coach at Xavier. But in comes Eric Olin, who was the coach at UC San Diego with that unbelievable team that was a 12 seed last year. I think Olin is one of the best coaches in college basketball. And anytime I get an elite coach at a non-Power 5 school, I'm always going to look at that team. So New Mexico 12-1. Keep an eye on the Lobos this year with Eric Olin. Another couple teams I'd also look at. The first one is South Florida at plus 200 with Brian Hodgson, who's now the head coach, comes over from Arkansas State. He did a great job a couple years there. Brian Hodgson was with Nate Oates for years at Buffalo and Alabama. He's been his right-hand man for a number of years, and it looks like Hodgson is going to have kind of the same track record that Oates does, and wherever he goes, he's going to win, and his teams are going to be tough to deal with. So keep an eye on South Florida at plus 200. And then Liberty's going to have another good team this year under Richie McKay. Keep an eye on them at a Conference USA. 3 national championship picks for me right now to start the season. Houston at 9-1, UConn at 14-1, and UCLA at 30-1. Houston, they're really, really good. Now, they need to be able to shoot the 3 ball. Maybe not as well as they did last year because they were one of the top 3-point shooting teams, but they need to shoot the ball well from downtown. The defense is always going to be there. But Kelvin Sampson has made it to a couple Final Fours. They should have won the national title last year. They're going to be really, really good again. I like that price at plus 900. UConn at 14-1. Look, we know the market is going to react to UConn. If they have a great non-conference and they start to beat some of these top teams, people are going to be afraid of UConn and Dan Hurley because of obviously the track record they've had the last 3 years. So I get on this number while you can. I like UConn 14-1. And Isaac said it, UCLA would be a team that I would look at my long shot at 30-1. I like the Bruins quite a bit this season. Donovan Dent, if he's as good as I think he is, and Mick Cronin can get the most out of him, if he can be that Johnny Juzang, Jaime Jaquez type player that those guys were for Cronin, UCLA could be dangerous. And then some long shot prices I really like. Gonzaga at 40-1 and NC State at 50-1. Graham Ike is still at Gonzaga. And they got a bunch of guys that are still there. Mark Few's team, they're not really getting talked about like it feels like they normally are in the preseason this time of year. I think Gonzaga is going to be pretty good, though, so keep an eye on them. And NC State with Will Wade. I'm just buying the upside. It's year 1, but he does bring a lot of some of his players with him. He brought some guys in from the transfer portal, so NC State 50-1. I would keep an eye on them as well.